Hello, welcome to this episode of the Independent Dealer Podcast. Everyone, quick thank you to everyone who is subscribing to the podcast and getting the episodes every Thursday and occasionally Monday. And we really appreciate the reviews. Luke, I've been wanting to say that. We love that you leave us a Google or a Spotify review or anywhere you listen to your podcast. So keep that up. It helps us move the dealership out. And today we have one of the most, interesting vocal women in the automotive industry that's in the communities and the forums and the groups, Mrs. Wendy. Luke, what do we talk about today?
Well, luckily, she's a fellow South Carolinian, and that's how we call ourselves, Jeff.
Linian.
And anyway, Wendy's, this is a great episode for men and women. I think especially for women, because Wendy kind of goes over the things that she's done to be successful in our industry, and what you have to be and how you have to wake up every morning to succeed. So thank you, Wendy, for being with us, and say hey.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me.
Okay, here we go.
You are listening to the Independent Dealer Podcast with hosts Luke Godwin and Jeff Watson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's do this.
Introduce yourself to the audience. Where'd you come from? How'd you get into the auto industry? Maybe a little bit about your history, your track into where you are now.
Sure. Well, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, top left corner on the map, the upstate here. And I got into the industry actually sort of by accident. I graduated college in 2009, which was a very bad time to graduate college, with a music degree. So there was that. And I went to, I was just kind of like working, whatever jobs I could find. I was, on the phone, kind of doing call center, kind of just soul sucking work. And then one day I wrecked my car on 385. I had a friend who, my car guy friend or whatever, who volunteered to take me to, go look at cars, and we found a Corolla, and he swore that it was such a good deal, so I was like, oh, well, let me see if this guy's full of crap. So I got home and I Googled it. Turns out the car was worth $2,000 more than what I paid for it. So I was like, oh, well, hell, I'll put this on Craigslist. People were putting things on Craigslist then. So put it on Craigslist, made $1,500, and I was like, okay, all right, well, let's do that some more. So, I got my buddy. We went to the auction that the public can go to and that kind of thing, and we started curb stoning. I didn't know that's what it was at the time. I was making more than I was making at my regular job, so I was like, oh, well, I'm not gonna do this anymore. See you guys later. And opened a car dealership. Had no idea what I was doing or what I was getting into. Thankfully, I did keep it small to start with. Probably a little longer, than I should have. But the only education I had was the 9-hour or the 8-hour class, to which I was an hour late to down in Columbia, and just Googling how to start a car dealership, So, but I've learned a lot of hard lessons along the way, and eventually I went to one of the associations, NIDA, CIDA or something, and I met Darla, who's just down the road. Darla Boer is a good friend of mine. She's just a spectacular car dealer, and just thought I was the cutest thing ever. So she was willing to talk to me and give me advice and help me. And a lot of people are like that. A lot of car dealers, more than I thought, would be willing and open to kind of share some of this stuff. Like I didn't realize turn time was like a thing I should pay attention to. Eventually I went to the master dealer class, and then I drug my husband into the car business. His family was in the car business. He's always avoided it, but I was able to finally pull him in here, and he's just a brilliant man. He's just the best thing that ever happened to me. And since I finally kind of got the courage and the fortitude to get a bigger location, to buy more cars, to hire people, things have really gone from, eking by meager living, most months, to really making some life-changing money. And that's, that's pretty much where we are now. There's a lot of things we've done to get there that I'm happy to chat about. But
Wendy, what that's an interesting point I'd like to get on here. Is like, most of us, it's a male-dominated business for sure, and a lot of us have our wives working for us. And it's just the opposite there, that you have your husband working for you. I know that it took a bit for Brian to come into the business. I think when you were still, you're trying to get on your feet, and Brian was still working a job as well as working with you before he came 100% in. Can you talk a little bit about the dynamic between you being the boss and him working for you, and how that works?
Well, we're extremely cooperative now. We did have a learning curve where I was like, oh my God, don't buy that. What are you doing? And we had just a regular old husband-wife dynamic for a while. I just happened to know a little more about the car business than he did. I'd been in it. I started the car lot before we were married, before I had even met him. I met him in 2012. I started the car lot in 2010. So I learned a lot of hard lessons, and he was fine to. My husband is not most men. I mean, he was fine to listen to my experiences and learn from them without having to make the same mistakes that I did. But yeah, I mean, now I would say, I mean, he is caught up. He's definitely we more co-run the business. He has a background in staffing, so he's great with managing and making sure everyone here feels heard and cared for. And I mean, people will work harder for you if they care about you and care about what the company as a whole is doing.
For sure. How many employees do you have now?
We are at 6. Our goal is 8. We're just small to mid-sized dealership. Our goal is 50 cars on the lot. Our turn time's just under 40 or so days. But yeah, right now we have a hard time getting inventory just like anybody else, because of the whole COVID economy. But
consider yourself a prime dealer or subprime? Where do you fit in that model?
I do mostly prime because I do like to sell back-end products. We're too small for the reinsurance, but we did find a retro plan that worked well for us. So we're trying to pump money into that. Really trying to think about the end game. I don't want to die at this desk. I want to make some money and get out of here. So prime customers just have more of they have more capacity to buy more products. You don't have to pay as many fees. And I mean, I still am on board for Westlake for just the occasional deal that can't be done either way. I love to try and help people, but I'm not bending over backwards to help somebody that hasn't paid back their last 3 auto loans.
Sure. So there's another dynamic that I think we should probably go down here. Wendy just had a baby a year or so ago. And us guys that run car lots, we don't understand that. If our wife has a baby, we keep working. How does that work for the women out there listening? How does it work to be a new mother, to go through that and still have a business to operate? What is that like?
Well, I mean, when you get pregnant, you've got like a 9-month countdown clock to get everything in order. And that was actually one of the things that drew Brian in, was because he knew that, I mean, I was going to be out. I ended up having I hadn't planned on having a C-section, but sure enough, she came out through the sunroof. I couldn't leave the house for like 6 weeks, So I'm there. I'm trying to breastfeed. I'm, like working on credit applications on my computer. I worked from home for 6 weeks. But if I hadn't worked on transitioning the car lot to a place where I didn't have to be here every second of the day, and things could continue running without me, we would have been up a creek for sure. But I think getting to a place where you can step out, I mean, if you can't right now, start with lunch. Like what can I do to where I could leave for an hour and the place wouldn't burn down? Like what can I what do I need to train people on?
I think what you did is what a lot of us want to do, right, Jeff, is be able to step back. And it's funny, women are a lot smarter than us sometimes, Jeff, where they figure out how to make it happen, and Wendy did. So that's kind of neat. Something we should all learn from. Don't you think, Jeff?
I think, and Wendy can correct me, but they look at, I think guys get tied up in the dealership being their reputation and being their ego and being who they are. I'm a car guy. I'm a car dealer. This is in my blood. I'm going to be here selling cars until the day I fall over dead. And where women are like, this is a means to an end. I want to live my life. I want to spend time with my family, and I want to enjoy God's creations. And this is going to help facilitate that, and I can side on Wendy's side. I didn't come from the car side. I didn't come from, I didn't work at a new car store and grow up with a friggin' wrench in my mouth, or, some of those stories. So I came at it from the financial side, where I was like, wait a minute, I can loan my money out at 24.9%. Now we're talking,
I am the kid that grew up on the showroom floor in the new Ford store. Because the whole family worked there. So.
Luke will die, with one foot in a friggin' Buick trying to fix a stereo. And
no, thank you. No.
Wendy, what are you doing to help facilitate that?
Yeah, how are you getting to your goal?
Well, I tell you, I'm the kid that grew up with a single mother. We were poor. I didn't like that, so we're trying to fix that. I'm not a car girl. I'm a money girl. I would like to have money, and I would like to. I take all the wealth that we're able to produce here, shovel it into other investments. We're kind of on the commercial. We want to get into the commercial realty kind of into things. We're working. We have a triplex. We're renovating now, and then we want to bulk up to the larger like apartment.
Commercial, residential, multifamily.
Yeah,
or you're saying commercial storefront.
Commercial, like multifamily.
Multifamily, okay.
Bigger than duplexes.
Yep.
But just being able to get the car dealership to just churn out as much money as possible, so you can put that into other things. A car dealership is the least passive income I think you could possibly have. It's so much work here. But yeah. I don't care about my name on the building. I don't care that people know that I'm like a prominent, that people think that I'm a prominent business person. I don't care about any of that. I care about this place making money. I do want to pour into the people that work here. I do want to give them what they'll need, to do the same thing that I'm trying to do, to become the best versions of themselves, personally and professionally as they can. So that's important to me, but mostly just let's make some money.
It makes an interesting argument, Wendy, when you say that. In my brain, I say it can come across as like, you and I have that attitude of like, yeah, this is a money machine. It's a factory. It prints money for me. And I use that money to buy other things that are less of a headache. It could look at as a greedy person. But when you say, no, in order to facilitate that, I have to empower my employees to be as good at their job as humanly possible and develop them as managers, as potential business owners someday, so that they can run my dealership, because I don't want to be there every single day. So I would argue that the car guy that has to be at the dealership 7 days a week and have his hand in everything is technically a worse developer of people, and maybe more greedy, because they're not sharing their responsibilities and they're not developing their people. They're trying to have their name on the top of the dealership and be the go-to be-all personality, So you could argue that, your philosophy is actually a better business builder, people builder.
I agree. And I think what Wendy, Wendy's pointed out something that, that she's a new breed of car dealer. I'm the old breed. Okay. And it's taken me a while to move away from spinning wrenches and, making sure I buy every car. I was selling every car, it's a hard way to move away from, but there's so many people that have come into the industry, male and female, that have looked at it more as a business, not as the car business. And I think it's an awesome topic. And it's taken me a while to learn to be a manager. And I noticed some of the stuff that was going on in my service department last month, I was not managing them properly. So I'm having to develop myself into a manager. But it sounds like, Wendy, with you and Brian, that you're a little ahead of a lot of people when it comes to that. How does one be that manager instead of a car person? I'm assuming you're still buying cars, but are you selling them? Where are you in the process right now?
Well, I'm still at the point where I do whatever it is that needs to be done throughout the day. But the people that work here, we have a cradle. We do cradle to the grave. But the people that we're working on developing, I mean, we're going even, I guess we're going back into the womb. We're going pre-cradle. We're allowing them to be involved in the car purchasing as well. And then all the way through the financing. I mean, we do have a title clerk on the other end of it.
So let's stop real quick, because I've never heard anybody say that you're allowing salespeople to be in on the purchase. Is that what you're talking about?
On the purchase of the vehicle, we don't go to auctions. Auctions are a money pit. You don't know what you're going to get. You got to transport it. The fees are outrageous. We buy from our community. And we do we have a very simple, it's basically a digital form that they fill out. You put the VIN, you put the miles, you put the trim, and all the damages on the car, and it comes back with a value, with a value we'd like to pay, and then of course there's negotiations, and that's where we would come in. How
is your salespeople sourcing those cars? Or are you advertising you buy, or are they on
yeah, absolutely.
Auto Trader every day looking? Are they on Marketplace looking? What's going on there?
Well, there's lots of softwares you can use. You have to have a very, very, very strong BDC, and each salesperson is their own BDC. But we do the KBB, Instant Cash Offer Program. We've got a big old sign outside that says we buy cars. I mean, we bought a car from that yesterday. There are different programs you can use to scour Craigslist and Facebook and all that, and buy cars locally. I mean, part of our unique selling proposition is, we're female led, we're family run business. People love that. But we also locally source our inventory. It's kind of like farm to table. I don't know, like your neighbor's driveway to your
it's
driveway.
all organic, grain fed.
It's organic. It's an organic.
385 to table.
No good Southern woman is going to drive a Yankee car, so it's really better for everyone if you buy your cars locally. And then you don't have to pay auction fees. You don't have to pay, So we really, and sometimes you get shorter on cars. There's nothing you can do. You got to go to the auction, but the auction's just the worst.
They're a necessary evil, but
Sure.
How many cars you sell a month?
And I am a smaller dealership, so we sell about 25, maybe a little more during COVID,
Sure.
But yeah,
that's time intensive to source 25 cars a month from the public.
I tell you, I pay probably the same that I would pay in auction fees, paying for softwares, paying on people to dial, paying on those things. I probably pay that, but I can shake the hand of the person that's selling the car. I can get service records from them. I can have all the time I want to check that car out, and I'm not competing against as many dealers. I mean, other dealers are trying to do this in my market, in your market right now.
Yeah.
And so you do have to compete against those, but you can, get people in here. And that's been one of the big game changers that, has increased our profit per car. That has decreased the number of unhappy customers you have coming back because their car fell apart, because there was a hidden auction issue. And having happy customers is extremely important to me.
What I'm sure you saw a decrease in recon. What's the difference in the recon from the car you buy off the street compared to the ones you used to buy at the auction?
Oh, God. A lot. I mean, I would say we get to plan for the recon. I guess is the
You're doing a lot less transmissions, I bet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think I have not bought a car. I have not bought a car that needed a transmission or an engine from the public that I didn't know beforehand that it needed that. And I tell them, hey, this is what it costs to replace that, and this is coming off your offer. So sorry.
It's a huge argument, and I sometimes try to make that as it's exactly what you said, but add up your fees, add up your transport per car, and then look at that recon and say, I can essentially completely mitigate my recon because I know exactly what that car is going to take because my mechanic can look at it before I actually make an offer. Whereas at the auction, and even now, you literally can't even put your hands on it anymore. You know, you didn't hear it start. You're going off of 10 pictures and a green, yellow light, red light, maybe. I mean,
the auction's stressful.
It's getting crazy. I think it's going to get worse and worse and worse down there as they try to keep us out of the lanes. They get rid of test driving. They get rid of, even previewing becomes more and more difficult. Ugh.
Yeah,
it's a mess down there, Luke. I mean, Luke's on the road like 3 days out of the week, right?
Well, not anymore. I'm at the house now, but
But how many have your bad buys increased because of that? Because you're not physically putting your hands on it anymore. This thing looked great online, but you roll up on it and it's obviously got a leak or a tick or a
sure. I mean,
cat.
I just know that out of a certain percentage of cars I buy, either where I put my eyes on them or not put my eyes on them, they're going to be bad, or it's going to require more recon than I think. I actually was talking to my friend O'Hare, who's a wholesaler we've had on here before. I was talking to him about, actually employing people to sit in an office and do what you're talking about, Wendy, and pay them a commission on cars bought. And, I think I'm going to move to that soon. I think maybe he and I are going to put something together, but I really like that model. It's a good model. I think it works. It works. Carvana's buying, they've got 1,500 cars a week that they can sell. Just in Columbia, South Carolina alone, I'd be willing to bet you CarMax is they're selling 200 plus cars a week. Actually, if you count Greenville, I don't even think about that. They're probably selling 400 cars a week, or maybe 300 cars a week. So that's 1,200 that they're buying. That's just in South Carolina. So if you look at CarMax, you want to bet you they're buying probably 20,000 cars a week that they're having to wholesale
off the street.
So there's got to be a way to do it out there. And it sounds like Wendy's on the right path. And I think it takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
but
it does.
So does buying cars at auction too. So,
I mean, we're paying retail at auction. I mean, literally paying full NADA retail at auction. So why not do it on the car that you can actually put your hands on and drive, right? That's great, Wendy. Well, Wendy, what else are you doing at your dealership to help kind of automate and step away a little bit? Do you have any other, kind of philosophies other than empowering your employees to kind of run the whole process, buy the cars, sell them, finance them? Anything else you're doing there?
Oh, I mean that's the biggest thing. I mean, you're gonna have to hire somebody else to do it. You can't step away to you can't put up a vending machine, I guess. Unless that's unless that's what you want to do. But I mean, just hiring people and working with them until you can trust them, and really empowering them to do to do the work of the dealership, start to finish. And I mean, my hand's going to be in it. I mean, it is trust but verify. I'm always going to have a part in it until the day that I can completely step away. But that's been a game changer for me. I was in the business for, I don't know, 8 years, a long time, where it was just me and like one other guy, and I didn't really trust him, and I had, just awful things happen, people stealing from me. I had a fake workers' comp claim, all that stuff. But so it really kind of like burned me to where I was like, you know what, this is just gonna be a job, but it's my job and I created it. But I didn't try to make it into anything bigger than just what I could make it. Until recently, I had to say, hey, I need help. I'm having a baby. I need the help of my husband. I need to hire people. I need to do some things. I need to get some people in place and get them trained. And when I did that, I made more money than I ever. I mean, of course, my expenses went up astronomically. I mean, my expenses are so high to me, and I know they're probably not even high comparatively, when you look at other dealerships. But to me, they're so high. It made me so nervous at first to really step out there and do it. But with a few relationships, some training, I went to the certified master dealer program. There's some great stuff there, and just trusting and training, and not having to be up my business's ass, just up like everything my business does all the time, not micromanaging. But you know, I've learned my lessons. And I think the biggest thing for us, I've wrote some things down: sourcing locally, going after back end. We're doing a retro program for instead of reinsurance. We're too small for reinsurance, so
I keep hearing you say that, but that's not the case. You're not too small for reinsurance.
Well, the retro program, I'm losing an admin fee, and I'm losing, I think it's like 9 or 10% of whatever's in the pool, and I lose whatever tax benefits that also come with that. But for us, it works well. You know, they just send us a check every year.
Who are you with?
Premier Dealer Services. They do both. They,
Okay.
you know, if you would rather do the regular program, but the retro program was a lot easier.
Hey, just to interrupt the podcast real quick, Luke, our friends over at Dealer Re, I think we're doing some good for them here at the podcast. Dealers are jumping on board. They see the importance of having their own reinsurance company.
If you don't have your reinsurance company, I cannot say this enough. Do it. Stop today. Call Taylor Bird. Get him on the phone. Call Tim. I'm not sure if Tim's in the office every day, but you call them, get them on the phone, and get started creating wealth and not just getting by in the car business.
Yes. Tax deferred monies you're going to put in your left pocket. You're going to save it for a rainy day. It really makes me think that all dealers have got to put it in. They've got to put it in their business. You've got to start now.
If you're giving somebody else warranty money, you're losing money. If you're not doing this, you're losing money. I mean, it's that simple.
And we're going to get the guys on soon to talk more in depth. I really want some more training on my CPI product. I'm not getting the penetration I need to. We'll get into some more depth on that soon. So stay tuned.
You know, but managing my own stress level, you know, not letting my stress bleed on over to everyone else has been a huge a game changer for us as well. But yeah, those are really the big things. So hiring a tax consultant, I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, the tax portion of it can really get you if you're not, prepared for it.
Yeah.
Did you go with one of the big tax guys for car dealerships, or are you using somebody locally?
We use Tax Law Solutions. They are local to us here. I mean, I'm sure they work with folks outside of that, but yeah, there's just different strategies that really any business could employ to save money on taxes. So that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, I would always recommend a car specific CPA if you don't.
Right.
They're really good at that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well,
couple of loopholes.
Right. Yeah, we don't actually use. I do have a CPA, but we don't use an automotive CPA. But we have a CPA and we have a tax attorney.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I want to touch on too, Wendy, was, and Luke I know has some experience and insight on this as well, but you specifically as a female, I find it so hard. I have a 3-person sales team. I really, really would love one of the 3 to be a female, because I do feel that as a female in the auto industry, you have certain, leverages and talents and, and stop me where I start getting stereotypical or sexist or whatever the word is, but
no, I'm going to let you go ahead and say it.
Females,
let's let him make a fool of himself.
Females they can just get away with so much more, because I don't think as a consumer you have your guard up when you step onto a used car lot and see a friendly female. You're like, oh, this lady's not going to take advantage of me. She's not going to try to pull the wool over my eyes like the typical slick talking used car guy. And she can be a slick talking female, but they can just say and get away with so much more. And I've always wanted to have a female salesperson, and we've had them come and go. I just can't seem to keep them here. What is it? Who do I need to look for? What are the personality traits of someone that wants to make a career out of automotive that's a female?
Well, I think you're kind of looking for the same thing in everybody. You want somebody that hustles, somebody that wants to make money based on what they do, not based on how long they're sitting there. I think, I don't want to be sexist either. I think a lot of us are, just by nature kind of looking for security. So maybe like a higher base pay and a lower commission, higher base pay might be something.
I think my best salesperson is the best salesperson we've ever had as a female, and she's amazing. She is so personable. She was in the hotel tourism business before that. So I think you need to look for someone who's just really personable, Jeff. So millennials, sub-millennials, whatever they're called, really do like a strong base pay. And during a training period, I think that is so important. And you can phase them out of that base pay when they get confidence in their paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. So I think starting them with security and then showing them what the security is doing to their actual paycheck. It's costing them money. And say, okay, we're going to continue to give you, $400 a week, whatever you want to pay them as a base, and then start paying them a percentage less than what a normal salesperson would move, and then move them all the way to, once they start hitting 20 cars a month or 15 cars a month, you can say, this is what you can be making. So you don't have to stick with that pay plan once you get them confident in themselves and know that they can do that job. I think female salespeople are, if you don't have one in the car business right now, listen to everybody, go get one. They're great. Service advisors, females are great there too. Females are great everywhere, but I'm saying in the car business, these are things that wouldn't typically be thought of as a female role, but once you get them in place and get them working there, it changes your whole business.
Is my hypothesis correct, Wendy and Luke? Is my hypothesis that women can get away with quote unquote murder as a salesman, that they can just, that the guard's just down with them? Do you see that? Do you see that
no one's allowed to get away with any murder here? Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like they could be like people. I don't know. I guess that's my vision. Does it really happen?
Everybody's mother is a woman. Like you already have like an innate sense of trust. And I mean, sorry, but like all the men have caused a lot of the problems in the world. Men start the wars. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you're looking at a man and a woman, I can see how people would be more inclined to trust a woman, or think maybe she's less capable of being dishonest or whatnot. And maybe she's not. Maybe maybe she's awful. But yeah, having a diverse group of faces in your car dealership has to be good. When someone comes in off the street and they can see someone that's like them, they can see someone that's like their sister, that's like their mother. Like they're automatically gonna feel like they can trust you more. But just simply being trustworthy is another way to do it. Being honest with people, talking.
You know something very important, and it's not just a female; it's a diverse environment. We are a diverse society, and we've had so many things in the last 2 months really come up and shed light on some real issues that we have. But being diverse inside your dealership is very important. People want to buy from people that look like them. They want to buy from people they trust. And they want to buy from, a lot of women want to buy from a woman. Some men would rather buy from a woman than a man. So diversity is so key, and your dealership should make sure that you have diversity. If you don't, you're selling yourself short, you're selling your community short, and you're not living up to your potential, in my opinion.
It's definitely easier to just staff the place with people that are like you. You got to worry about, am I going to offend somebody or whatever? But it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it to try. To try and employ as many, give opportunity to as many different people as you can, and to pour into their life. I mean, we try to have like superfood snacks here. We have like almonds and walnuts and pomegranates and stuff instead of donuts. Green tea available for everybody. Pour into everybody personally. Let them have their car wash. Let them have their church car wash in your parking lot. Let them. If there's ever anything anyone wants that doesn't cost me, especially if it doesn't cost me anything or doesn't cost me much, I go ahead and do it. Why not? Yeah, match the profit at this. This is what we did this past weekend. They had a car wash. We matched the profit for whatever charity. I didn't even write it down. I don't know. But I just if you care about them if you care about them, they'll work harder for you most of the time. And you get a bad egg, you let go of them.
Yeah, it's great advice. I just feel, I can't. You do need to stick to that. I get it, and we're going to review this and go over it. That diversity thing really kind of hits home right now, so that's interesting. I'm gonna have to put that in play here.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, most of the people that work here are actually my family. My husband's grandma does our books. You don't have to worry about your grandma stealing from you. So it's been we've been slowly adding as well.
Yeah, that's so great. Wendy, anything else, closing words of advice or education you could give the dealer community or females that are listening to this that maybe want to step out and have their own dealership, or maybe they have their own dealership and they're battling some stuff or wanting to get into that area?
Well, now really is a great time to be a woman. I don't necessarily feel, because I did step out and do my own thing, I don't get a lot of the oppression things that may be happening to some people. I do get vendors on the phone that call me honey and ask to speak to my husband, and we just don't work with them. Oh yeah, no thanks. Yeah, 3 sweeties and you're out. But you have to go get it. You just have to be aggressive, and I think that men by nature are just a little more aggressive, or a lot more aggressive in some cases, on average, than a lot of women are. And women need to see. They need to see their goals in just a finite, realistic manner. This is what I want, and here are the steps. This is how I get there. And then you get up every day, and you go in and you just kick its ass until it's yours. And I think men are taught from birth that that's a possibility, and women are given a doll or whatever. I think. Men, little boys get blocks, little girls get dolls, But
I think that's great advice, Wendy. And I know that there's a lot of men out there that can take the same advice and hopefully put it to work. And I know there's plenty of women out there that want to be more successful than they currently are. And I believe this is a good way to move forward.
Yeah. And I know that advice is a little vague, and there are super specific things that we do that have made a difference to our bottom line, and I'm happy to chat about those. But yeah, overall, just find out what works for you, and then just doing it so hard. Yeah.
Thank you, Wendy.
Awesome, Wendy. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Hope this episode inspired you to take positive action. Remember to subscribe so you get each episode the day it comes out. And we would love your help spreading the word. Leave us a review and share this podcast with your dealer friends. Dealers helping dealers learn and grow together.